Yo, what is up? Yo. Sade, what's up, man? K Mets, what's up? Professor Jorge. Late night, man. Late night show. Let's get it. What up? What up, Tickles? DRNO. John. Plastic Starfish. What's good? Bro, my dog's barking at something right now. I'm like, she's been acting a little weird lately. Just barking at things. Yo, Echo. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's start the show. Made some good money off the Ethereum Classic. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Ethereum Classic is down right now, but I'm going to go over that here because it's going to be relevant to the AMC cycle. But first, one of the indicators I've been using right now, it's a liquidity indicator. This one specifically, I've modified to fit the AMC cycle parameters. So it's got cycle parameters involved here. As you can see, it's pretty accurate in the way that it spots the bottoms and the tops here for AMC. So this is something I use for crypto more than anything. But we're getting extremely close to support here on AMC, establishing this macro double bottom. Now, the thing I wanted to see over the weekend was Ethereum Classic rally, but hard. I didn't want to see a small rally. It did go up 20%, which is good, but it didn't hold that, and that's the issue here. So I'm gonna start with that because that's the most relevant thing right here, and I'm gonna show you some of these little drawings that I have here. We're gonna go on the 4-hour chart. Batman, I fucking love you, man. I fucking love you, dude. Okay, so here is Ethereum Classic percent change over a set period of time. We're using the 4-hour for this. I'm going to go ahead and add AMC now. So AMC is going to be on top. Let's change the colors so you guys can see Ethereum Classic green and then AMC red. Okay. So this is a good way to go back in time, understand how the cycle works, and if it's valid, where you're tracking things. Okay, so where we are in the cycle right now, there's a couple of different sections that I'm going to be talking about because I think they're all pretty relevant here to the cycle. But you guys already know every 62 days here we track a volatility zone on AMC. Okay, we're coming up to the one in April. The previous 3 have all been very neutral points of interest. That means that there's not a lot of volatility here in the overall markets. So we haven't seen a pretty big move on AMC. And you know, this applies to the entire market, not just AMC. There have been stocks that have gone up, obviously, but AMC has not had that chance for a little bit of time. So, you know, the more this thing continues to just stagnate, trade sideways, really the higher the push is going to be, because you guys already know the deal. This is a stock that has a lot of shorts. This is a stock that has a lot of people backing it up. So the more this thing springs, the higher the push is going to be in the end. I mean, this thing is just springing, coiling up, expecting to just pop. Okay, so it's important that you know, and nothing is guaranteed, right? But it's important that when we're tracking these technical setups, because in the end, you do have to track technicals, you need to start to see a change in the way the stock is moving. Right now, it's still bearish. We're still in a downtrend. We haven't established upside yet. We need to cross resistance in order for that to happen, and we've been rejecting resistance right now. So that's the issue here. But again, this is, you do the cycle, and then with the cycle, you got technicals to back that up. You got technicals to help, and that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna talk about some technicals, okay? All right, so try the 2 hour real quick. Yep, 2 hour. You're gonna see it on pretty much everything. So this is a cool thing about this indicator right here. It's called All-in-One. I'm planning on releasing this soon for you guys to use. It basically tracks the entire crypto market, or you have to input some of the cryptos you want to track. I put a lot of cryptos that are pretty high in the in volume, and are cryptos that experience a little bit more volatility than your pretty basic top 5, top 10 cryptos, right? Like Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those guys are not going to be on the list. This is going to have a lot of the altcoins. Okay. Now I also have it for stocks, so I have a crypto one and stocks. Now this one, I'm comparing the two here for AMC and Ethereum Classic. And you guys can already see what's happening here, right? Ethereum Classic has the percentage return first. Liquidity then is transferred over to AMC. You start to see AMC rise. Okay. Prime example, in August, we had the same thing happen in March. Now, the window here was a lot tighter. So Ethereum Classic goes up, and about 3 days later, we have AMC go up. Okay. So let's look at the way the stock is moving here. The percent change is going to be a lot more relevant when knowing where you are in the cycle, because sometimes you can't compare patterns. They're not going to look the same. The structure is not going to look the same. So for example here, yeah, this is what AMC's percent change over I believe the input here that I have is a 62. Well, obviously 62 days. And the 62-day parameter here is not just on the daily chart, because this is the 2-hour chart. It really works on like every time frame, and that's the coolest thing about it. So here we have the structure of the pattern. Again, it's not going to look the same. You move it right over here, and then you have a match here. So now we can use this as reference, because the percent change is very similar to what we experienced back here. Now, it doesn't mean that we're here in the cycle, but we can use this box here for reference. A lot of the times, these are going to be flipped. I'll show you guys another one. And this one is on Ethereum Classic. The thing about indicators down here is you can't take the bars pattern. It would make it a lot easier. So this one here, you can see that there is a match right here. There is a match right here. Okay, and I'm looking at all the levels, percent levels, because those are going to be relevant. And for AMC, we had it right here. Now, where was it that I found? It was right here. Okay, for Ethereum, it was this one. And this is the crazy thing, dude. So why I use other stocks in the market to do this? Because most of the time when you're tracking the cycle, other things are going to happen the same way. It's not just going to happen for AMC around that same time. It's going to happen really with the entire market. You're tracking that section with a set list of stocks. So here, this little section here that we're tracking is saying that we're somewhere around this October, November time in the cycle, and this is pretty accurate, because if we then take this pattern here, we bring it right over, and I'm going to take both. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to take this one as well. So this one right here, look at that. Okay, same thing here. You go up, there's your POI, and then it starts climbing back down. Obviously, on the way down, okay, it's calling for more downside, but these are just telling us where at least one of the POIs here that we're tracking for AMC. But then again, for Ethereum, that one it's not necessarily doing the same thing. So you do have to have multiple matches here on that. But let's pull over this other pattern because this one was pretty relevant as well. It was right, I believe it was right here. Right here. Okay. And then for Ethereum Classic. Now, again, because this is a percent change, the patterns here are not supposed to look the same, but they are supposed to have similarities where you see the price go up and where you see the price come down. That's what's important here. It's not tracking to see if the pattern is the same. It's tracking to see if AMC is going up at the same time that we've seen before. And with both of these, you can see that there is a strong correlation right here, and there is a strong correlation right here as well. Then on the way down, there's a little bit more correlation with the April going into May as well. All right, so I'm going to take these out now, and I'm going to bring over the cycle here, and I'll talk about certain things on AMC as well, as far as the court and all that. Because yeah, I mean, there's some things that you have to watch out for as far as the timeline we're tracking right now. And I'm going to talk about options specifically for AMC, but I just thought, this was something pretty interesting. I was tracking with this indicator that I have. Another thing, and this is for Ethereum Classic. I keep saying Ethereum. You guys know what's up, though. We're not tracking Ethereum here. Okay, so with the video that I had prior to this was calling for a parabolic arc, was tracking the Bed Bath & Beyond setup. We did cross below that, unfortunately. Now, this doesn't mean that this move is over. It just means that that pattern specifically is not valid anymore. We're expecting the POI to happen right here, and then what happens? The complete opposite, right? That's the thing about the points of interest is it really is upside or downside. It's really not that difficult. Being able to spot that in general is a pretty freaking awesome thing. But obviously, if you're tracking, upside and it comes back down, well, I mean, those are POIs for you, man. Okay, so the setup here, it's pretty interesting. We are at support right now. The overall crypto market, I still see the 30K range. This seems to be like the start of a fake out on Ethereum, but technically, okay, support is not until this 1920 range. Okay, so for me, I was looking for, if there was going to be a fake out here, would have had to have been right around that 2030 range, and it would have to spring. Anything below that, coming down to this 1980 range, that to me is already a sign of a complete rejection, and then now we're dealing with this retest trend line here. So that's gonna change things a little bit. But if the crypto market holds here going into tomorrow, FOMC, obviously that's going to be a pretty big deal. Then we should see some kind of push here in the crypto market. It's a pretty strong push to either direction. But I am calling for a continuation here. I still think there's a little bit more to go with the crypto market and Bitcoin. Look at that. Look at that shit, guys. Everything, dude. I'm telling you. Did this shit. All right, this is AMC. And you can track these, bro. You can track these patterns backwards. Believe it or not. All you had to do, yes, this is something I fucking tracked. And right now it's right around that range that I'm talking about, but this is just a moving average. So this thing can clock over and, like I said, go to that 30 range. What stock just did this? AMC. That was the one pattern that we tracked. And this is the thing as well. Like, it's possible. It's very possible that AMC right now is ahead. That's also a possibility. I talked about this. If you guys saw the Crypto Runs AMC Follows video, that one talks about the cycle separation between crypto and meme stocks, or any volatility stocks in the market, but we call them meme stocks. Okay. Anything with that is relevant here, because there's a point in the cycle where everything tracks to a T. I mean, they're tracking together with the overall markets, and then they slowly start to separate the opposite way. Okay, so the same thing happened with Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic was right behind AMC in February of 2021, and then it went first. So right around here is where it all started. And then you had AMC. 28 days later, you had Ethereum Classic. 28 days later, you had AMC Go. And then 28 days later, you had Ethereum Classic. And then it started to shrink. It started to get very narrow. Things got so tight. They started tracking together. And then we started to see a very small separation here very recently. And, you know, it's possible as well. It's just like cycles flip around, that we start to see this separation take place, and the meme stocks go first, right? So we're gonna see very, very soon, because if, you know, this being a level of resistance here for the overall crypto market, there's been a ton of fake outs. If it decides to come down in March here, end of March, with the markets, there's going to have to be some catalyst, man, because, I mean, obviously AMC took a very, very big dip from the highs here. If the overall market, crypto markets, do the same, we'll then expect a pretty hefty move to the downside. But yeah, AMC did this first. AMC did this first. Right there. I think a better way to do this actually is taking AMC's chart, man, and copying that. There it is. Now, with crypto, you do stretch the patterns out because of these gaps in the market. So this technically would be considered a fractal, because I think it's probably a little bit bigger. But yes, there are obviously... Well, actually, no, it might not be. It might not be, because, yeah, these would be spread out quite a bit. But yeah, calling for that 30, 31K range, and then a rejection back down. But we'll see, man. This is going to be one of this is actually one of the more important things I'm tracking right now. Why I posted that video prior to, the last video I posted was talking about that. Was talking about Ethereum Classic going, and how if it did rally, that would be a really good sign for AMC that we would see some kind of parabolic move here. Now, I am still tracking upside, and I still think AMC is going to come up in the short term. I'm eyeing right now the 550 range for at least next week, and I think we're already starting to see some nice pressure come in here. After hours, it looked pretty good. It was up like 2.5% today. So that was good. I think overall, it definitely is looking like it wants to bounce here soon. So in the short term, I still see some upside. Okay, so let's talk about this vote. Let's see. Terry, what's up? Sean, Wesley, Christopher, Chad, Devin, Hobby, Christopher, OTZ. Thanks, man. Know anything about the secret recording controversy? No, I don't. What secret recording? Can somebody send me a link? No, I did not know that. That is freaking weird. What recording? I did not, and that is I hope it's real. Hey man, we got AI now, so you guys already know anybody could say or yeah, anybody could say anything now with using people's, like, if you train somebody's voice over like an AI application or their face or their movements. Bro, I've seen so many of like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan on YouTube Shorts and fucking TikTok. I mean, dude, that's all over. But I mean, if you have it, dude, if you have that link, I would love to see it. I definitely want to see it because that's just you can. I mean, I think it'd be pretty obvious if it was like AI. But yeah, I want to check it out, man. Scheduled for tomorrow. Okay, I'll check it out, man. I'll check it out and get back to you for sure. But I can definitely. Now, what was this controversy about? Like, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? I mean, what is this guy saying? Um, in the meantime, I'm gonna talk about the setup moving forward with the cycle specifically. And I'm going to pull up that so we can talk about options. Options are going to be one thing. And I'm going to talk about, well, yeah, the delay here, vote. And this is the pattern I was talking about. Okay, right over here. Oh, okay, that's the one. Okay, so real quick, guys, I'm sorry. I was trying to see where this pattern was. But again, I keep taking the percent change here on Ethereum Classic and AMC, and then this is where it is. You see that right over here? Okay, this structure, another way to see where you are in the cycle, is right here. Okay. And then this matches right here. And look at this is the one that I thought we were in, and where we would potentially flip here, because it's calling for upside. It's calling for short-term upside on AMC, but this is also considered a POI in the cycle because this is where the arc lies. This is inverse. So we're like reaching that point now here where we can expect some volume coming in. So that's also a good sign. Okay, so with this, pull up the cycle now. Okay, and then right over here, okay, so again, this is where the arc is, inverse POI. And the thing I wanted to talk about here going into the point of interest, I mentioned this on the last video, but basically the vote here is not approved. I mean, it's still pending. The court's still pending this vote taking place, not taking place. The vote took place, and everything. We already know the answer to the 3 requests that AMC was proposing. So all of that is set in stone. It's there. We're just waiting for an approval now on the court side. And what that is going to do here essentially is, well, they're either going to release a date and give us a time on when the split is going to take place, which I prefer. I want them to do that because then we will know based on the cycle how things may end up happening in the end. I think the more information we know further out, the better. If this is something that gets approved immediately and say it happens overnight, I don't know, intraday, that would be kind of rare, but maybe overnight or something, I think that would be the only other way things could potentially just happen the next day and take place the next day. There have been some stocks that have done that. I'm still trying to remember which one it is, and I still don't remember. It might have been COSM. It could have been COSM. I don't know. Did they have a split, a reverse split? Let's see. Yeah, they did. It could have been them, dude. Hold up. Yeah, right here. 1 for 25. And these guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but did these guys announce that they were gonna do a reverse split on the 16th, or did it get approved on the 16th and then the next day it just started to go up or whatever? December 16th. I don't know. I need some I need some DD on this. If you know, get back to me on this. I'll look into it now that I know which one it is, because I'm pretty sure it was this one. But back to AMC, obviously this is going to affect the option chain regardless. A reverse split does add it doesn't always, but most of the time it will add another option chain, and that is also, based on what happened with Ape and the second option chain we had, adding another option chain technically kind of wipes away the current options because they become illiquid. I've said that many, 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 many times. So something else to consider with this. Now, I've been reaching out as well to some of the option clearing corps and all that just to get a little bit more info. And I haven't received a specific answer yet. So whenever I do that, I'll talk about it. But I have heard around as well that it is very likely that we are going to have that second option chain. So if this does get approved overnight, which would be really crappy, then just think about what that would do to options, right? Options would take a pretty massive hit because then you open the next day, and then out of nowhere you have a 1-for-10 separate option chain, non-standard option chain available there. I don't know, man. That's so funky and crazy. The judge it said once the judge says yes, it will be immediate RS and the ape dilute 30. Yeah, of course, and it's going to be 1-for-10 depending on AMC and Ape's price at the time in which it gets approved. But it would be ideal to have this approved, giving people some time before that, because I think that's the reason why they delayed this thing in the first place. I said this before, but this right here, guys, is not a POI in the cycle. A point of interest is very specific in where it lies. And in the cycle here, these are the only times that we've experienced heavy volume on AMC. And again, that's not always the case. We have 3 very clear inverse POIs in the cycle, and the rest are they're very dry. There's not a lot of volatility here on these. But coming up to this one, that's why, that was something that I was considering here, is that there is no way we're going to see or not that there's no way, but it's very unlikely we're going to see any crazy volume here on AMC because this is not a point of interest in the cycle. So they would probably approve it sometime in here. This is where we would see that approval. And it's just a matter of, is it going to be approved overnight? Is it going to be approved? And then we're going to have a little bit of time to just at least get ourselves ready for the split, right? I mean, most splits work like that. They give you some time. They tell you when the split's going to happen. And then you could do whatever you want with your shares, or you can do whatever you want with your options. But there are times where they don't say anything, and it just gets approved overnight. And that's that. So all right, so COSM had a general meeting the December 2nd. So the reverse split was in question, and it got approved. Like now, did anybody know it was going to happen on the 15th or the 16th? If it was announced the 15th, then I'm pretty sure again that it was announced after hours. And then the next day is when it took place. If it's something like that, if something like that happens, then we're still would be at jeopardy. The options would be at jeopardy if they closed prior, not having the reverse split take place, and then, overnight they announce it, or the after-hour session they would announce it. Whatever happens to the stock price at that point, I mean, that's really that's not something anybody would be able to predict. It could be a good thing or a bad thing, but regardless of that, if it takes place the next day, we should be expecting a new option chain. Now, COSM did not have, or does not have, an option chain unless they just added one. They could have added one because of a reverse split, because now the price is more expensive. A lot of the times, these penny stocks, when it was trading as a penny stocks, having an option chain is not really relevant, and because there's that, the increments, you don't have for penny stocks. The minimum you could have for a option contract is 50 cents. So that's why, I mean, they maybe added an option chain. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think so. Nope, no option chain for them. So that's also a little bit different. Yeah, it's also a bit different of a situation because they don't have an option chain. Yeah, let's go over what my thoughts are, really, regardless of how this takes place. I want to think, and I think it would be the moral thing to do would be to let people know in advance when it's going to take place. So going off of that, if that happens, I personally would see something being approved. There's two ways this can happen. If it's the moral way, they let everybody know, then I think sometime in the short term, between now and probably end of month, I think there would be some kind of catalyst on, okay, AMC is going to be approved, and I think that naturally is going to drive the price up a little bit. Probably a little bit going into that $6 to $5.50 range, just based on that catalyst, because we're at this double bottom. We have a this is macro support ascending on this trend line. So that is pretty bullish to me. Again, what the crypto market's doing, what the overall market's expected to do, this to me looks like a good range here for AMC. Okay, but if they don't do that, if there's no catalyst, I'm not saying the price can't go up or anything, but because we're so close to this POI, I am going to start looking at things, not worst case scenario, but the closer we get to the POI, the more aware I have to be here on how this is all going to play out. Because if we start entering the point of interest and we still don't have a catalyst, then there's going to be a very small window here on when things are going to take place. And we already kind of have a deadline on the 27th for April, but that can also be extended to if nothing gets approved, nothing gets, with these court settlements and stuff like that, sometimes do get delayed even longer. And, that would kind of screw things up a little bit. But say, things happen the right way here and we start to get some kind of catalyst here, potentially going into this section here, the cycle, we can experience some kind of volatility. This little spike we have on the arc, there's been a lot of micro POIs that play out around here. Okay, here's one. Okay, this one is playing out inverse, but it's also part of the red portion. And right now we don't have anything. We just have straight downward pressure. So a lot of these, okay, do call for some upside, and you start to see some volume around then. Okay, May 12th being one of the big ones, 2022. And right over here, November 2021, big one. It's completely inverse on that red portion of the cycle. All right, right here. Actually, right here is where it is. And right over here, this is just this one is a completely inverse pattern here. Not necessarily having the POI here was in August, and that was a small one as well. So if anything, I would be expecting something like that here in the short term going into the end of the month. Also, AMC has a correlation of going up towards the end of the month more than other stocks in the market. So I always place it between the end of the month and early in the month. I think that is where they really start driving these meme stocks and cryptos up a little bit more. So again, the levels don't change. Everything else is pretty neutral as far as that. As far as that goes, we're really just waiting here on that. That's kind of what's been holding this whole thing back for AMC is not knowing. Dude, that's the thing, man. It's been 4 cycles now, which is 8 months, almost a year. Wow. That is crazy. Okay, almost a year on AMC. and it's just been stagnant. And it's just been like ever since this August POI, ever since Ape, there's just been so much uncertainty on, not uncertainty, but just the, like, having Ape trading away from it. That's why I'm pretty excited for them to merge back, because, dude, I don't want to have to deal with Ape anymore. Like, having one chart is I think that's the whole thing, man. It's like it is kind of a psychological game here in the way things got split up here. It makes it a little bit hard to understand what's going on in the cycle, because you do have AMC's other half doing something else. And yeah, that does kind of change things a little bit. The volume here is pretty not irrelevant, but it with the historical chart data that we have here, it's different. Everything from Ape is like if this entire chart was something else, and then this is just AMC's most recent chart. That's when they merge back together, it should make a little bit more sense. Even with the split, with the reverse split, they're going to adjust everything, so it should make more sense moving forward. The volume is going to make a little bit more sense as well. But yeah, with tracking POIs, these are very specific, so it doesn't really change much on the volatility, but sometimes the levels do change. Okay, the price targets, some of that stuff be screwed with a little bit. Here's AMC plus Ape right on top. Let's track this a little bit. Let's look at this. Yeah, we also have GME earnings tomorrow. It's exciting. I'll go over GME. Let's pull up. For GME, I have a pretty interesting one. This is where I'm going to pull up all-in-one stocks. Let's do 21 days. Okay, so this right here is the combined values of most stocks in the market that I track that have a lot of volatility. So you're going to see crypto stocks. You're going to see, just a whole list. I have 40 in here. And this is telling me when those are going up. And it's telling me the percentage that they went up. And then it gives me a nice average here, a moving average of everything. So these are probably going to be very correlated with the VIX in a way, because maybe not this is a spread, so it is taking a range, so it is going to look different, but it's basically doing something very similar. So with GME and actually AMC's chart, you can see the same thing right here. Sometimes this is good. It's a good tool to use to understand where a stock with volatility is in the cycle, in this cycle. Because when you track the entire market, you need to understand that stocks and cryptos, they're going to go up one by one. Everything can't go up at the same time. When everything goes up at the same time collectively, that usually is an indicator that the market's going to start coming down. That's why we see a lot of saturation happening in January. We see in the crypto market, we see a lot of saturation in February, and so forth. So with this indicator here, it's telling me that there's a lot of stocks, AI stocks started to go up. We see that here with the percentage. And then the ones that have very low percentage return over that specific period in time, those typically are next to go on the list. Not always, but they're typically next. So AMC, you can see Mara is a little bit on the upside. Riot, 34%. Mara, 8.9%. AMC and GameStop are down. Bed Bath & Beyond is down. BlackBerry's down. I mean, most of these are down. Anyways, to my point here, I want you to look at this right here. Okay, what is this? This is a double bottom setup. on the entire crypto or stock list that I have here. And then you have a bounce for the next turn. So this is very, like, this is normalized here. That's why you're seeing a bunch of spikes up and down. It's just up, down, up, down, up, down. But this right here is an indicator to me that any sort of crypto, or I keep saying crypto, man, any sort of stock right now that is developing that kind of pattern, because if I compare every other stock right now in the market to AMC, okay, you're going to see the differences between the two. Like if I pull up AI, for example, this being one that just had a rally, right? This thing goes up like crazy. And then prior to it, the two are kind of tracking the same. So why is this one here? It's obviously a lot higher, but how are these institutions, how are they trading the two against each other? Okay, well, you're going to see that AI's turn was right here. Okay, but AMC hasn't gone yet. You're starting to see that way back here. Sometimes these are ways to predict what you're going to see moving forward here on some of the other stocks in the market. And yeah, it's a very specific type of analysis I use that just narrowed down these POIs more and more. But I mean, dude, if you're a believer, man, that these institutions are holding and are, controlling the markets, there has to be some kind of system to do it. And, like I said, not everything is going to go up at the same time. They're going to go up one by one. So this is where I'm going to bring up GME, because GME, hey, not only are we tracking a POI here on GME, but what pattern did I just talk about right here? This double bottom setup right here on GME. And GME is doing the same thing. Heavy double bottom setup right there. Double bottom. And then right here, everything starts to bounce. Bounce. Okay. And you can kind of even see it on AI's chart. What did AI do prior to this move? AI had a very similar double bottom setup. Okay, on GME, you didn't see it because it wasn't there. It wasn't GME's time. GME ended up being a loser while everything else was going up. And then now it's developing that double bottom setup. You have AMC doing the same thing, developing the double bottom setup, which everything else had done prior to it. And a lot of these setups are going to look the same because it's just liquidity being used over and over and over and over again throughout the entire stock market on these stocks that have high volatility. So yeah, man, GME is also primed to go. I was expecting actually GME to go up last week, but now we're starting to see that come back up, which is good. And typically with these moves, they're pretty powerful on GME. GME is known for these double bottom kind of setups. Here we have one. It comes back down a little bit, descending. This is more of a wedge, but here's 1, 2, here's 3, 4, 5. I mean, dude, GME has too many double bottom pop. These are tiny ones, by the way, but they still work. Double bottom. This one is kind of, but it's a double bottom fake out. Double bottom here. And let's see where else. So look, I mean, most of AMC's chart is calling for a push back up. I mean, if you're just taking all of these fractals here and overlaying them on top of each other, the end goal here with these is coming back down one last time before it starts pushing back up. And this is not the only thing that we're tracking here with GME. Obviously, the setup looks nice. It looks good. But it's tracking the entire market with it. It's not just tracking technicals on one stock and what one stock is doing. It's understanding what the entire market is doing with that. So yeah, I'm extremely bullish here in the mid to short term for meme stocks because we're entering the POI. A lot of these patterns are calling for upside. And yeah, I'm going to go over SPY real quick and tell you guys why I think FOMC tomorrow is really just not, it's not as relevant in what I think is going to happen here. I think it's going to do something, but like I said, man, like the catalyst here and everything, these are already played out and set by these agendas regardless. So even if it's whatever comes out, it is a volatility zone because we expect things to happen on FOMC. We do. And it is an important date, but it's all already planned and ready to freaking kick off, dude. So here is SPY. Here is SPY on the other chart. And here's our lovely pattern that is still tracking till this day. Till this day. It's just, I mean, dude, it's crazy at this point. Go watch, man. Go watch a video from January, early January time. I go over the SPY and I pull up this pattern here every single video. And this is just to show you guys that patterns work, man. Like, tracking patterns, it's not a silly thing. Whoever says that, like, oh, stop tracking patterns, bro. There's so much evidence out there that we have here. And dude, it just works, man. It just works. I mean, this is a good way, on top of everything else that you're doing, to just round out that and make your technical analysis in the end make sense. It's another way to finalize your technical analysis. Why not, man? Why not pull up a reference pattern to see if things are tracking? Now, the unique thing about this one is, and most of these candidates that I have here are that they're not fractals. They're not little patterns that I'm finding and stretching out. These patterns are very unique in the way that we're tracking them using the pattern scanner tool, because it's the same time window on a different time period. Okay, so the same time window on a different time. That means that this right here is somewhere else in the chart, not this chart specifically, but some other chart in the market. And that is it doesn't get more valid than that if these are tracking the same way. And sometimes you see these tracking at the same, not only the same time window, but also the same months and the same days. I've found many stocks that do that, and that is just more proof. So crazy thing, man. Obviously, this is calling for upside. So we'll see, man. We'll see what we got here, but I like it. I like it because this crosses resistance. It came back down, touched support, and now it's ready to start climbing back up. So we'll see if the agenda here is bullish here for the entire market, because it's clearly calling for some upside, hitting that 435 range. And I've said this many times already as well, but this is the peak on AMC Cycle, April 21st, and then that is where it comes down. Obviously, you have the entire market coming down as well. So a lot is correlating here with everything. I'm calling for upside here in the short term. So I'm going to leave it there for this video, guys. I know I went a little bit overboard here, but just wanted to update everything and, you know, answer some questions and stuff. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want notifications, man, when I go live. And I will see you guys sometime this week. Also, if you guys want to check out some of the plays, crypto plays, leverage, options, all that good stuff, hit the link below for the Discord. The Discord is an amazing place to be. Alrighty. See you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.